Yo, what's good, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be talking about mid-rounding. I'll explain what mid-rounding is for those of you who don't know. I'll break it. Well, I'll break down what it takes, what I think it takes to be a good mid-rounder, and some things that are important to consider at the individual level, but also at the team level, to kind of accurately read the information that's given to you in the round to put yourselves in position to win rounds. And really help you guys understand that IGLing is not just about the pre-round calling. It's impossible to guess what the other team is doing. All you can do is set your team up for success. The way that you deviate from your plan and react to the round is really what sets you apart and is going to take your team to the next level. I did an IGL guide not too long ago, I think maybe a week or so ago. And I wanted to make this video to kind of pair with it so you guys can see more of the big picture when it comes to how rounds are won, how things play out, and that the start of round call isn't always necessarily the one that wins the round. Okay, so let's start by explaining what mid rounding is. Okay, it's in the name. It's pretty self-explanatory. It is just calling the round at the middle part of the round. Okay, so deviating away from whatever the pre-round call was to kind of put yourself in position to win the round. All right. Now, it's impossible to know what kind of mid-round calls are being made unless you watch like a comms video of a pro team. But generally, the way that calling works is like this: the IGL will call a round. It might be super simple. It might be something super complex. It might be a set piece. It just depends on what the round is, right? But all calls are generally made from a point of logic, right? From a baseline understanding of, okay, we need to be careful of this, and that because we've hit tab and we've looked at the money, we've looked at the ults, we've seen, the last couple of rounds they've been doing this, so we think there's a hole here, right? There's some type of logic behind the reasoning behind IGL's calls, right? Now, just because it's logical doesn't mean that it's going to happen. There's a higher likelihood that it happens, and that's why it's logical, but there's no guarantee. Mid-rounding is a more guaranteed style of calling where you're reacting to the information in the round. If you think of every round as a story, right? Every round is a story. Mid-rounding is you reading a chapter and then writing the next one. So you see what's happening in the round? Okay, this is how we're going to react to this. Boom. The mid-round call is now going to be this. The mid-round call can be completely different than the pre-round call. The mid-round call could be, let's just sit and wait to see what they do and then react from that. But really, at the end of the day, what's most important is that everybody is on the same page. Mid-round calling allows people the luxury of not wondering what they need to do in the round, right? Giving a sense of direction is something that's very, very important as an IGL, but it's also very important to be doing that as a mid-rounder, okay? Hopefully that all makes sense. If you have questions, drop them down in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer any questions regarding this. It is a very complex topic. It's not something that you get exposure to a lot as a fan. It's something that you really see when you get in there and you're coaching and you're a player in the tier 2 to tier 1 scene, okay? And tier 3 as well. But really, like, high-level mid-rounders do a really good job of assessing the information that's given to them in the round, whether it's information being, looking at your radar and seeing where the enemy KO knifed and understanding where the jet was positioned just now, right? Scouting out the jet. Okay, that means that if we saw the jet here and the KO knifed here, we'll make an assumption that the Killjoy is now playing on this site. And that's what you want to do. It's about processing information and trying to put your team in the right spot to succeed. Okay? So let's talk about what it takes to make a good mid-rounder. Okay? What makes good mid-rounding possible? Okay? Number one, information. Information is super, super pivotal when it comes to being a good mid-rounder. Okay? And a team that mid-rounds well. I need you guys to understand that it's not just about your IGL calling to gather the information. It's understanding at the team-wide level, can we all have this craving, this desire to understand the setup of the other team? Can we bait util out without dying, right? Baiting out util is a really good way of understanding where certain agents are playing, right? If we can bait out a Viper Molly, guess what? Now we know where the Viper's playing. If we can bait out a Killjoy Molly, guess what? We know where the Killjoy's playing. If we can bait out the KO knife, we know where the KO's at. And we're doing this all with the intention of getting information, okay? So the second part of getting information that's really important is relaying the information. Can we communicate the info that we've been given in the round and then communicate that to our IGL or the rest of our team so that somebody could then connect the pieces with maybe the info that they've gotten in the round, and we can make a judgment call and agree on something and do something in a unified manner to give us the best chance of succeeding, okay? So information, very important. Communicating the information, very important. The speed at which you communicate the information is another thing. So if you get smoked off somewhere, let's just say, for example, let me just go top cat here. Little things like this would be like an example of like how quick you need to give information, okay? Let's say I'm playing Jet and the enemy team smokes top mid here. If you don't communicate that this is smoked instantly, now your tiles player might peek out and the enemy Jet might be walked out here with an op, right? Like, we need to know that, because if this smoke is pretty irregular, right? If somebody smokes this or smokes this, it generally means they're doing something in mid, okay? That means that our mid players need to be a little more cautious. Maybe a mid-round call would be, okay, can we speed up into A main? Or can we speed up B main, right? Or can we at least bait out utility A main? Hopefully that makes sense, right? But it's all about the speed and efficiency of getting this information to the rest of the team, okay? I want you guys to understand that people do things because it's logical, right? Generally, people won't smoke this unless they're... teams will fake smoke this and then not do anything mid, but a lot of times people are very deliberate in the util usage that they throw. There's usually a logical use case for it. And here, you know, if you smoke this, if somebody smokes this and then we wait for reclear and then we go and we jiggle this and we live, now we know that it was fake, right? And we can maybe go for like a mid-B split or something like that. So, again, hopefully that example makes a little bit of sense. It's just reading the util that the enemy team throws, understanding what it most likely is going to be signaling, right? What most likely the enemy team is doing with this util that they're throwing. Then can we make a judgment call on what we want to do and how we want to abuse that, right? So information, read the information, communicate the information, communicate it quickly, and then the last thing is be decisive. Can we be decisive and act upon the information that we've gotten, that we've communicated quickly, and now can we also act on it quickly? Timings are very important in this game, and if you hesitate too much, you're going to lose a lot of timings. But also, if you're not on the same page and you take too many individual timings, you can get punished. So it's about finding this balance between, okay, do we have a timing? All right, the second question is, are we all in a relatively clumped up position where we could take advantage of this timing and still have good scaling and good trades and all of those things? These are things that you need to consider when you're mid-rounding, okay? Another thing that I want to talk about when it comes to mid-rounding, all right, there's two more things really. Three. When we have the advantage in the round, okay? Determining when you have an advantage in the round is very, very important, okay? So, start of round, guys. I hold tab. I look at my team's ults. I look at my team's money. I look at the enemy team's ults. I look at their money. I understand what map I'm playing on. Maybe I'm playing defense ascent and we have 3 ults and they have 0 ults. We have a full buy and they have a full buy. The advantage is with the defense. Okay, everybody understands that? It's a defensive-sided map. The defensive side has ults. The defensive side has guns. They have guns as well. Maybe we don't need to take a ton of risk here, right? Maybe we don't need to do an aggressive play. We can just play the round out reactively. The enemy team is really the team that needs to take the risk here because the advantage lies with us, right? Another way that you could gain the advantage in the round, you get a couple kills to open the round up, okay? Let's say you get yourself in a 5v3. Now, the amount of risk that we should be taking as a team should go down because our win percentage has gone up. We get a couple kills. Let's say my bot or my arm is a scale. Okay, you know those like old judge, you know the judge scales with like whatever. Anyways, I think you guys understand what I'm saying. But judge the scale. So here, my arm is flat, right? This is team A, this is team B. There's a 50% chance that team A wins the round, 50% chance that team B wins the round, okay? If team A gets a kill, boom, their win percentage now shoots up to 60, okay? This is just an example. Don't take these numbers literally because it depends on a lot of different things. If we get 2 kills, now our win percentage may be 75%. So as my arm tilts, right? You see how the win percentage goes up like this? The amount of risk that we should take should go down, okay? The amount of togetherness that we have should go up because it prioritizes good trades, okay? So how does this affect mid-rounding? It will affect mid-rounding because once you default out the round and you get a kill or two, you can simplify things. You prioritize getting an idea out quickly that focuses on regrouping, or you do something that slows down the pace and you just hold for reclear with your teammates. You also want to prioritize having good spacing. So when I say good spacing, making sure that you're butt cheek to butt cheek while you're scaling into the site. Trade kills. We don't want to line up and get, collided or anything like that. But we always want to be in position to trade off of our teammates. Okay. And then also waiting for proper utility. We don't need to rush things. We don't need to take timings when we're a 5v3. We can slow it down. We can play things out. We can make sure we're all on the same page. Everybody knows exactly what they're doing. There's no confusion in the round. And we know that generally 9 times out of 10, 5v3, if we play it together, we play it safe. I don't even care if the enemy team knows what bomb site we're going to. As long as we cover all the fundamentals, we're going to win the round more often than not, and that's what you want. This game is all about percentages. FPS games all about percentages, okay? If you can find yourself with the win condition in your favor, make sure we want that win percentage to get all the way up as close to 100 as possible, and the way that we do that is by understanding advantages in the round, but also understanding risk, okay? The last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to mid-rounding is understanding there's different ways of getting information. And I want to talk about those ways briefly, okay? Number one way that you can get information, visually. Visually, I can get info, right? So let's say I'm playing Jet, and I do start a round updraft dash, right? Boom. And I come here and I see a turret here, right? Instantly. That's different. Killjoy's usually playing B. Okay, here, now I might want to cancel because I've got mollies here, whatever, and maybe I don't want to cancel. Or maybe I don't want to go onto the site, okay? Or I take A main and I walk up A main and there's a Killjoy trade here, okay? That's information for my team. Or I can walk up another version, so instead of visually seeing, is boom, I get close to this wall and I hear an alarm bot right here. Okay, so that's an audible way of getting info, okay? The information is the same, right? The only difference is when you audibly get info, generally you still have the element of surprise, excuse me. And when you have the element of surprise, generally you can react better to things. So when it's possible, you always want to try to be silent and not let the enemy team know what you're doing. If you can silently get info, if you can get in positions that are really solid where you can hear rotations and hear util and stuff like that, generally those type of things will take your mid-rounding to the next level because the enemy team doesn't understand that you have the info. So sometimes the enemy team will know that you have info on them, and when they do that, they're able to react. When the enemy team doesn't know that you have info on them, that's when you have a really, really good chance of manipulating the information and creating a timing and creating a good opportunity for your team to win the round. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions or want me to talk about that further, go ahead and drop a question in the comments, okay? Another form of information is just stuff on the radar, okay? Reading enemy initiator utility and kind of logically trying to understand what that means. Reading the smokes that the enemy team is throwing. What does that mean, right? Reading the level of resistance that you're meeting when you're on attack. So if I go up A main, right, and I'm met with a smoke and then the omen blinds here to counter me. Generally, you know what that means? And maybe most of you don't even think about this, but even tier 2 players don't even think about this sometimes. If an enemy hits you with heavy resistance in a choke, generally it's because they're alone. and they need to wait. They're doing this to give their teammates time to rotate over. Okay, if you're sitting on site as a defensive as a defender and you're here, here, and here, you actually don't want to dump util on this choke. You want to wait until the team is out here to dump util on them, right? So trying to read the level of resistance that you're met with is something that duelist players and initiator players, these are really the players that are doing the most mid-rounding, in my opinion, because the duelist player is the player that is able to visually see things. They are the tip of the spear. They're able to also audibly hear things before most players. Initiator players are able to use their abilities to scout things out, and based on the info that they're given, they're able to feed that to the IGL or mid-round themselves, okay? Those are really the two roles that are doing it the most. But also duelists are kind of like the ones that will understand, like when they get to this point, if they're not met with resistance here, it's either two things. They're free to take the site, or they're going to be going into kind of a stack site. If you get heavy resistance in the choke, generally I think it's a good idea to assume that you can continue pushing afterwards because the rotations aren't in, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this video. I want to keep it short and sweet. Hopefully this helps you guys mid-round your games a little bit more. This is more of a video for team settings, but also if you feel like you are playing duelist or initiator and you're relatively vocal and ranked, I think you can kind of take some of the tips from this and kind of run with them and take it to the next level. Just to recap, okay, guys, what is mid-rounding? Mid-rounding is communication or planning that deviates away from the pre-round call. It's a reaction to the story that is being told to you in the round. The story that's being told to you in the round is the enemy's positioning, their decision-making, their util usage, and the information that you've gathered on them, okay? What makes good mid-rounding possible? Information. Feeding information to people, so communicating it. The speed at which you communicate the information. And then the decisiveness that you display by taking action on all of the things that I just listed, okay? Another thing that's very, very important when it comes to mid-rounding, again, is understanding when we have the advantage, can we do all the little things, all the fundamental things to take our win percentage from 70% up to 80? Can we focus on being together? Can we focus on getting a plan out quick? Can we focus on taking minimal risk? Can we focus on good spacing, good trading, good util usage, right? All of these things. Can we avoid taking 50-50s? Can we avoid taking one-on-ones? Can we avoid overheating? Can we avoid using a ton of util and saving it for post-plant instead? All of these things are very important when it comes to mid-rounding. It's not just about the idea or the strat. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's about being on the same page and making sure that everybody is doing things together. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you like this type of content. Thank you so much for all the subs, the likes. We're over 3K subs right now, which is crazy. We've doubled our subs in about 10 days. So I'm hoping we keep it going. I'm excited. If you guys want to see any specific videos, feel free to drop them down in the comments section below. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Have a good one. Take it easy. Bye.